Hi, my name's Val.
I don't do this with every interview I go on. Take you inside my home. I don't, but I'm going to.
I'm Fernando Escobar with FabTV, sitting here with Leo and Ting, the directors of Val. And you know what? At least Val is giving you tons of footage to put this thing together. But how did you guys do it? How'd you do it?
Short answer. Well, we sat down and actually watched everything he gave us, and then went out and filmed him for specific pointed things that would help tell the story, having seen all the enormous archive.
We actually, very early on, we decided we wanted it to be a first-person experience, a first-person perspective. So a lot of the footage, most of the footage in the archive was shot by Val from his point of view. So it made sense to make a first-person film. And we actually started with a 3-minute little mini film depicting what it could be, and we showed that to Val with some of his own words narrated by himself underneath it, and that actually helped, spark, the inspiration behind the film.
Couple questions here. How did you guys decide to pick Jack to do the voiceover? And when I hear the voiceover at the beginning, I was like, that kind of sounds like Val a tiny bit. And I was kind of freaked out because I didn't know. And how did you pick Jack?
Well, we knew we needed a narrator to speak in Val's voice, because it would be very difficult for him to narrate the whole film himself. And from the beginning, Jack was our first choice. And he did do a lot of tests for us early on so that we could feel what his voice would be like. And yes, like, he does sound uncannily like Val in the film. Which I think we were both pretty surprised by it. It's one of the reasons why we introduced him as the narrator pretty early on in the film, because, you get a little snippet before you know who he is, but we didn't want people throughout the whole film to be like, is that Val? Is that so-and-so? And so we reveal him early on, but then you get lost in it. You sort of forget, and it just feels like Val is talking to you.
100%. That's exactly how I kept feeling. I kept forgetting. It's just like, that's Val. It sounds like Val. It feels like Val.
Yeah.
He did an incredible job, Jack did on that. And he was evolving it along with the film as we were editing the film.
I was telling Jack and Mercedes how by the way, I went to Chatsworth High School. I grew up a block away from Val's house.
Oh my gosh.
On Dale Court. So I have a big time connection with Val, and the whole, all his lines I've been using forever. When I get drunk, I'm Val Kilmer, you know what I mean? So I cried like 7 times watching this thing, because it was just so deep about everything he says and what he was feeling and everything he shot. So was there some parts that you guys saw in his footage that you're like, oh, we can't put it in, but it's so awesome?
To be honest, not really. Nothing was off. Nothing was out of bounds. And
I didn't mean out of bounds, but like, some
like
great footage, but
it
just didn't fit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few moments along the way where you couldn't get it in just because of time constraints. And we wanted to be, to show his life. And we didn't want to deviate too much. For instance, there was a road trip that Val and John Grease took right after the making of Real Genius. So they drove across America to New Mexico, and it was so fun and wild. And
it's like a little buddy movie of them, like a cross-country road trip, like really young, but we had to be really strict, like we had a lot of scenes that were wonderful, but in the end we had to be really strict to sticking to the moments that really shaped him as an actor and as a person.
You guys did an amazing job. I know what it is to put a documentary together, and it's like the giant puzzle that you have to finish. So it's like a miracle you guys made it, and awesome job. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Take care.
It's a story about my life that is also not my life.